podcast ever. Yeah. All right, guys, welcome back. Today we have another very special guest,
Big guest.
Ajmorris. Introduce yourself. What realistically, anybody that's watching this already knows who you are, but
Doesn't
come on,
need to.
introduce yourself.
I appreciate it, boys. It's really cool what you're doing. Love what you're both doing on social media as well. I think the influence that you guys are having is a very positive one, which I love to see because, let's face it, there's a lot of influence nowadays, and everyone has a voice. And I think sometimes the voices are leading people maybe down the wrong paths. So yeah, your voices are very important to keep the younger generation heading the right path. It really is pretty key. But nevertheless, as for myself, so I've been in this game since 2014 when I did my first show. I started coaching in 2015, taking my first athlete to stage in that year. And then since then, I've just been pretty obsessed with bodybuilding in general, you know, like not just natural bodybuilding. As much as my coaching is just all natural bodybuilders now, I have coached some assisted athletes in the nutrition and training side, and I still have a lot of sort of excitement by following the assisted side of bodybuilding. I'm still very into that. Probably follow it even more than I follow like natural bodybuilding because it's easier to follow. It's more shows. And it's also just branched off into loads of different things like running MBW, the membership site, and now of course promoting bodybuilding shows as well. So yeah, and now when I started I was 15 and now I'm 30, so in the click of a finger it's been a fast last 15 years. I feel like I've reached what is it like called a unk mode or whatever now. And I've just I mean I still feel really young, that's the thing, which I guess is a good thing in a lot of ways. I still feel fresh in the game. I still love it. I still wake up really excited to coach, and I also wake up really excited to train, you know. So I think that's something that's like led me very much down the right path, is just following a passion of mine. So yeah, I guess that's a short wrap up of myself.
Nice.
Yeah, good. Like obviously, everyone knows you for. Obviously, I think over the past few years, like you've definitely excelled more as a coach. Like everybody looks at you now as realistically like one of the best coaches in the world, really, in natural bodybuilding. But I think before that, everyone just knew you for just training and just being a bodybuilder. And obviously, you're still, you know, you're still putting that out there. But everyone just loves how you train because you've never been one of them guys that just, all right, there's a new study out, so let's change. You've kept your own ways, which is good to see.
Yeah, I think honestly, I've always just been led by what I enjoy the most, you know. And I think again, we live in a day and age where you can be influenced to try a million different things by just 5 minutes scroll on Instagram. You know, 5 minutes of scrolling, and you can be proven that everything you're doing is wrong, and then you could be also proven that everything you're doing is right. So, bottom line is, there's so many ways to skin a cat. You may as well do something you actually enjoy. And the way that I enjoy to train is always with pretty basic movements for the most part. Heavy, as hard as I can train, as frequently as I can train. That's it. It's a mixture of everything. And yeah, of course, there's been a lot of refinement in my process over the last 10 years, and I have learned a lot that has improved my training. But I also think that as much as knowledge is power, the more knowledge you gain, it can sometimes lead you down a path where you lose touch with either what you enjoy or what actually, bottom line, has worked for the longest in bodybuilding. You know, like the newer stuff, the perfectionism chasing that seems to be the trend now, that ain't been proven to work as long as just hard training has. So I'd much rather lean into what has been proven over many, many, many decades to produce good bodybuilders, which is very simple. It's progressive overload with a program that you can recover from, enough food and enough sleep, and it's just it's overwhelmingly basic that people don't want it to be that simple, but it really is. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Bodybuilding is so simple in the grand scheme of things, but it's became so complex now. There's so many different things going on, and realistically, it's just training and eating. It's very simple.
Indeed. But it's hard to convince the younger athletes that that's the case, because the younger athlete now, a lot of them, they want something that's a little bit more complex. They want something that's a plan that has a million different cues on it in terms of how to perform a pull down, and they want a diet that has the absolute perfect setup in terms of food choices and everything that digests perfectly, quote unquote. And they're spending so long trying to devise this plan, or going between coach to find a more optimal plan, that they've spent 5 years basically spinning their wheels. The athletes that really do make a difference when they are younger are the ones that arguably are a bit benign to some of the knowledge. They sort of like hide it away, and they just crack on, get after it, and get significantly stronger than they were when they started, even if the form's a little shit or scrappy. And they're the ones that are probably making the most progress. At least that's what I've seen as well with young athletes that come to me. The ones that are actually quite busy with other stuff outside of bodybuilding, where they don't consume as much bodybuilding, they're the ones actually doing pretty well, because they're not ever distracted. They're just locked in, they follow whatever plan I've given them, or even if they've just been following something that they've created themselves, they've followed it for a long time with zero distraction, zero deviation, and doing what is monotonous from the outside looking in. But that's what's required, is the same shit pretty much every single day, and not complicating it too much.
Yeah, 100%. Like, me and Noah are very similar with the way we approach training. Like, just me and Noah have probably been doing the same movements in certain sessions for years now,
Yeah.
and we just got stronger. We haven't complicated it. We got stronger. Yeah, over time we went from doing, let's say, like an all-out set where we're doing like 4 or 5 reps, to now doing, okay, pause sets. We're gonna go 10 reps. A little bit more like touchy-feely. Or instead of doing 1 set, we're doing 3, 4 straight sets, but it's the same movement. And I think that's not many people talk about just sitting on one movement anymore. And I think when you look at people that are ridiculously strong at like a certain movement, like look when you was running the Cybex hack, when you had 7 plates, that wasn't because you're just mega strong. It's because you were so skilled at that movement. Like, you knew exactly how to approach that movement week to week to week. And I think now people, they just want to be so strong on every single movement. Every week they change it, every month they change it. You're never going to get there, because you need to learn the movement to get strong at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Bodybuilding is essentially a skill-driven pursuit. It really is. Like, you have to get very good at lifts to get very strong at them. And that's why I do think that there is actually more, in some ways, we can learn from powerlifters than a lot of people like to suggest. The common phrase is that we're bodybuilders, not powerlifters, and a lot of that phrase is correct, in the sense that the way in which powerlifter moves a weight from A to B is not the same as the way that a bodybuilder should move weight from A to B. It's not about load efficiency. It's not about moving it with as much efficiency as possible, but it is about moving a weight with skill on the muscle with as much load as possible. So that's like the bodybuilding skill of lifting. And what powerlifters do really well is that they build their basis around 3 essential lifts, and then they build accessories to build up those lifts. So inherently they get very strong at those lifts because they've built the skill, and also like all the little things that then build up that lift even more. So they're weak at lockout on a deadlift, so they program a 45-degree hip extension to improve the lockout. They do all of these little things. And bodybuilders can basically do the same thing. They've just got to move the weight a bit more on the muscle. It's as simple as it gets. And there is, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, it's actually quite fortunate if you look at it in the right way. A lot of very young bodybuilders that are really, really good at early ages have come from some degree of powerlifting background, because they have learned that ability to just grip and rip, do some bench, do some squat, do some deadlift, get very strong at it. Learn also really what is actual failure, because when you fail a powerlifting lift, you literally fail. You hit 0 RIR, and because you've been doing it so long, you hit a legit 0 RIR because you're failing with like everything. Like everything's failed. Your technique's already good. Your skill's already decent, and you've literally hit like a wall. You can't get another rep. You've had a max out set. Whereas, you know, with bodybuilders, maybe younger ones that just go in and do try to optimize everything straight out of the gate, these exercises aren't inherently ones where you're going to feel that same zero RIR effect of a squat, a deadlift, or a bench. It's just not. It's not the same. Like, and then they're asking themselves, but you know, I stopped because I stopped feeling the muscle, or I stopped because, you know, there was one rep that was hard, and they never learn really early doors like what hard training actually should be like. So I think there's a lot of parallels that are actually more important to recognize than ignore when it comes to like strength sport, building skill, and bodybuilding. They're actually quite closely linked.
100%. I think everyone, like, it's a little bit different now. Like, back then, everyone was just in the gym to train. Obviously, the gym was a little bit different when you first got into it compared to when we got into it. Because I'm sure, like, when you went to a quote-unquote bodybuilding gym back then, everyone in there was jacked. And everyone in there was training ridiculously hard. And that is quite hard to come by now. But I think once you learn...
I'd even say like I'd even say that for us, like when I started training, like when I went in the gym, everyone was huge, and then when I go in the gym now, it's like, you know what I mean?
There's not many huge people.
It's just not the same. I don't know.
It's funny because where I live now, it's about probably a 5-minute walk from the first ever like bodybuilding gym I went to, and I was recording a YouTube video yesterday, and I spoke about it, and I was like, I remember going in there for the first time, and there was a guy in the yellow striped bottoms. And like a massive XXL, like the explosive fibers hoodie, and he's benching 4 plates on the incline. That was the first ever like big guy I saw. The next day I went in, there was a different lad on the bench doing 4 plates. Like that was the norm. That was the norm. Everyone was jacked, and everyone was just doing the basic movements: deadlifting, rows, pull-ups, dips. But now, you don't see that at all, and you don't see people training so hard because obviously, you know, all these things. You know, everyone's talking about don't take 50-50 reps now. That's great, but if you don't know how to train hard, you can't skimp out on that stuff. You know what I mean? Because now everyone's just trying to find an easy way to train, and that's something I wanted to talk about as well. Was like why you kept your approach to training the same throughout the change in the industry. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me, like I said at the start, it's mainly been what I've really enjoyed to do, and I get that there's going to be people that enjoy to train, perhaps in a more, I don't know, methodical or overthinky kind of way, because they really like to attach themselves to the science or whatever, you know, you want to call it, because arguably every form of training that produces results is science-based training, because you're just backed up with results rather than a study. So, yeah, I never really enjoyed, like, even when I saw that there was a trend of reading research and stuff, like reading research papers. Like, you know, there was a big trend in 2017 and 2018 when, like, Renaissance periodization and Mike Israel and Jared and stuff started to, like, come to the forefront, and, you know, like, Revive Stronger and Steve Hall and stuff were, like, he's very closely linked to them. And their whole, like, ethos in a lot of ways was very different to the way that I started to train I started following Jordan Peters in 2015, 2016. And I just like massively related and got motivation and excitement from that side of training. Train really hard, logbook your lifts, progress, all that kind of stuff. What I didn't relate to was like why I would need to go into sets with the mindset of leaving 2 in the tank and then in week 3 or week 4 go to 1 in the tank, and then week 5 deload and then do it again. I looked at that and I just thought, that sounds like no fun to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason why I didn't do it. It just sounds like zero fun to me at all. And it's funny now because a lot of those people, I don't know about Mike or Jared or anything like that, but I know that Steve has come full circle now. He barely does any of that RIR within any of his client programming and any of his own training. He's like come full circle and thought, you know what, that was a waste of time. So it's like, you know, I saw that straight away. I saw that being a waste of time straight away because I knew that wouldn't yield results for me because it's not enjoyable. It's not fun. whether it worked or not. And I'm sure there's many, many, many people that it would work for. But I think you've got to take into account that some of those people, especially, you know, again, you might see people like Nick Walker following the RP app, and you'll see Nick Walker train, and there is a lot of reps left in the tank with Nick's training. Like, legit, there is. But he also went through a period of time when he was building the amount of muscle he's got now, where he was training until his eyes were bleeding and doing all the, like, he would literally, I've put loads of them up on my story of, I think, after he competed or something, because I just randomly, when I, like, doom scroll back to, like, what he was actually doing to build the muscle, and he would be RDLing 7 plates, like, easily for, like, 6-8 reps, you know, pressing the heaviest dumbbells in all the gyms. And it comes to a point where those athletes that have built that highest level of muscle tissue on the planet, they don't need to be taking those risks anymore to build more tissue. They need to stimulate what they've got, keep it, compete, win a shit ton of prize money, and create the life that they need to live. But if your goal is, let's face it, for me especially, my goal is always going to be to get bigger. I'm never going to be big enough to the point where I say I need to just protect my muscle or refine it. I'll always need to be bigger a whole career. So I've always got to find a way, in my opinion, to in some way get stronger with decent form. That's it. And if I don't do that every off-season, at least some lifts, that off-season has not worked. That's the way that I see it. And that's the fun that I have with training as well. And I don't know about you boys, but like nothing gets me more excited to the gym knowing that on that day I could do something that, one, scares the shit out of me. I could get hurt because I like the feeling of like I potentially could fuck myself up doing this. That's cool. And 2 is going to, as a result of me doing that lift, coming back home, eating and sleeping, I'm going to be probably better as a result of it. And when I've seen that also work so immensely well for my clients, that even more backs up my excitement to do it, because I know that it works not just for me, but for a lot of other people that I work with. I think where the balancing act comes in is when you see, okay, people on that approach, some people on that approach consistently get hurt. You know, they'll pick up problems, niggles, pains, aches, whatever it may be. Those are the people where you maybe have a slightly different approach, where you're not taking those 50-50s. They're still training really hard, but they're not taking as many of those 50-50s, and they're training in a different fashion because of the limitations their body has. Some people have those limitations. Some people are just riddled with problems. Lucky enough, touch wood, I've only had one major problem in my entire bodybuilding career.
What was that?
That was it was a disc bulge in my C6, C7. So it's basically like massive. All of the compression I was doing on my spine caught up with me essentially, to the point where I had then the bulge was causing compression on a nerve, and I like lost muscular function of my pretty much majority of my upper body left side. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it was shit. It was awful. It was like the worst thing.
How did you manage that?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was.
Whilst we're on this topic, I actually got a question about that. It was. Can you talk about it and how you came over it? How you was feeling mentally and how you came over it? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah, man. It was honestly like probably the fucking worst stint of mental health that I've ever had. Absolutely, hands down. Because the limitation for this injury was not only so nerve pain, if you've ever had it, is so when you aggravate it, it's like a pain you can't describe. It's like your whole arm and all the way the nerve runs down feels like an ache, but imagine that ache is also like lit on fire. So it's not just an ache, but it's also burning. So that's what it felt like 24/7. And I remember vividly, we went out to the States for the Worlds and the Olympia in 23. And that was when it was the worst, because I thought it was like tightness. I didn't have a clue that it was nerve damage. I thought it was tightness. So I kept getting massages on it. And like before I went out, 2 days before I went out, guys digging his elbow like right into the area where we think it's muscular. And all I was doing was jamming even more compression on that nerve. So it was completely and utterly messed up for that whole flight. And I was popping painkillers left, right, and centre just to get through the flight. And I never take painkillers. So I was messed up. And then on top of that, not only when I trained could I not feel my left side, so I'd try to do a dumbbell press, and I would knock back the 20s, and I would go like this. Up goes the right arm. No. Left arm does nothing. I'd probably do 10 kilos overhead press maximum with that left side. Everything else was dead. So Smith pressing, the left arm would just come along for the ride, and the right arm would basically be doing everything.
Yeah.
And that was the only way I could train, would be with bilateral movements that were on a fixed path, because the left side would just have to tag along. And then I would just do like single arm work with a light load to try and stimulate it. But the biggest element was not even the pain or the training, but it was visually seeing atrophy. It's the first time ever in my life that and this is why I know that losing muscle in a prep is actually harder than you think, because I've seen muscle come off a physique, and I know what it looks like when you're actually losing muscle, and it looks awful. It looks so shit. When you can't train something, legit can't stimulate it, it looks terrible. So yeah, that whole side just completely deflated because I was not being able to stimulate it at all. So I'd hit like a front pose, and it looked like two different physiques, because I'd went from like 23 was good. 23 I was like at peak strength. That was when I was regularly doing the barbell rows with 180, hack squatting the 7 on the Cybex, and I was also back squatting every 10 days, and I got that up to like 220 for 10. And I was legit the strongest I've ever been on everything, and I felt like awesome in terms of muscularity as well. And I was excited to prep in 2024, and then it fucked that all up. It literally ruined 2024 for me in terms of getting on stage, because that was the year that I was meant to come back. And the annoying thing is, because throughout the whole of 24, I spent that basically just trying to regain what I'd lost. So by the end of 24, by the time I started the pre-prep for 25, I was just about where I was. Not in terms of strength, but in terms of muscle. I'd got the muscle back. But in that whole time period, I didn't do anything I couldn't do a prime press because both sides move individually. I didn't do any of that, and I didn't do any of it during 2025's prep either. Every press I did was on a bilateral path, because I was so fearful of even trying something and feeling like the left side was going to give up. It was a massive 2 years of psychological warfare with myself as to whether I could do an exercise that I used to be able to just chuck up the 50s, press them I wouldn't even think about it. So it's pretty rough, to be honest. And the annoying thing is, like I said, is that if I'd have prepped without getting hurt, if I'd have gone in 24, I 100% believe I would have been better than how I looked in 2025. And that's the annoying thing. And that's why I'm so on it with my athletes now. I'm let's pick our battles when you're a bit older, because picking the battles is so key to being able to have longevity. Because now I'm really focused. I want to compete a little bit more frequently, as I'm now in my 30s. I want to compete maybe every other year or something. And I also want to do that, one, because I really enjoy stepping on stage. Two, because I know if I take 3-year off seasons, there's going to be a point in that off season where I'm going to get hurt again. Because I'm just going to chase. I'm just going to chase stuff that I want to do in the gym. And if I prep, it's a cap on my strength. I'm hey, cool, let's prep. So then I know that I've just got to retain what I've got and stay fucking safe and not get hurt. I'd much rather be hungry, diet down, and make small improvements than make loads of improvements, get hurt, go backwards, rinse. That's not progress for me. That's just being idiotic at this stage in my training career. And the biggest problem that year was I was trying to combine being as strong as I was and being absolutely rammed busy with coaching. And it was the first year I'd really tried to combine those two things, where my whole day was very stacked I'd also started MBW as well. It was in its first couple of years, and it was quite a lot to try to manage what I was trying to do with that. So there's a lot of things on my plate, and yeah, I think that it definitely was a warning sign that I need to take care of myself, bottom line. Like, it's super fun to be that strong, and I love it, but got to take care of myself. If I want to burn the candle at both ends, something's at some point gonna give. For listeners that are... My webcam's just died. For listeners that are interested in terms of how I fixed it, so the biggest thing that you need to consider if you're dealing with something similar yourself is decompressing the spine. As Harley gets delivered his meal, it's very nice. Is decompressing the spine. So I did a lot of targeted cervical spine decompression with like a little thing that you can get from Amazon that goes around your neck, and you pump it up, and it basically like creates more intervertebral disc space, so more space in between the discs, so you can let that compression reduce on the nerve. I still do that now and again now. I don't have to do it as much, but like, there's a while where every night be pumping that fucking shit up, getting my neck as compressed as possible. So this... What's that?
Does it make you taller?
I don't know. I hope it does. I seem to be only getting shorter. But yeah, obviously that was every night, and then I also got some treatment called MBST, which actually Sophie, who's a figure pro, you'll both know her probably, coached by Zach. Yeah, Big Soph.
Big Soph.
Yeah, she had lower back, like really bad lower back issues, really bad, with nerve issues alongside it. And I messaged her about it because I knew that she got it done, and she spoke very highly of it. But that was an absolute ball ache, that treatment. Whether it paid off or not, I don't know. I hope to God it did. I think it did, because I made some good steps forwards after it. But that treatment was 6 weeks long, and it was twice a day, every day apart from weekends, for an hour. And all that you did...
An hour each time?
An hour each time. Yeah.
How far? Was it close to your house?
No, it was about 40 minutes. It was in the centre of Sheffield. And it was at peak times. So it was peak school run and peak, like, everyone leaving work. And bless the laws, like, our day was basically, I'd get up, do as much of my check-ins as I can, pack pre-workout meal, get to the MBST appointment, do the MBST, eat pre-workout meal, go and train, go after training back to the MBST appointment for the second time, and like Loz would do all the driving for me. It's like, if I didn't have Loz, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It was a complete nightmare. And the worst thing about the appointment as well is because it uses like these like magnetic arrays of shit or whatever that you lie on. It's painless. It doesn't do anything. You don't feel anything. You just lie there. But because it's magnetic, you can't use your phone. So you can't sit on your own phone. So I just had to lay there and watch some shit TV or read. It's like, and I can't do that for 2 hours a day. I can do it for half an hour, read a book or something, chill out. But 2 hours a day, man, it was like, I felt like I was wasting time, because I love being productive and getting back to athletes as quickly as possible, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was challenging, but whether it worked or not, I don't know. I got one chiropractic adjustment in my neck, and after that I said to him, I was like, I don't want another one of those. It makes me no. I just have such a fear of those adjustments. Like, I mean, people have died with neck adjustments.
Yeah.
You know, if you get a neck adjustment wrong, you literally, the patient will just die in front of you, which is rare, but it has happened. So I'm like, I don't want to do another one of those. They just like rip like that. Like, fuck me. Like,
We just
no, thanks.
we log into Instagram. We'll log into Instagram one day, and it's a picture of you in black and white. Loz is posting it.
Yeah, front last spread. Fuck's sake.
When he competed last year. So when he competed last year, you know, it wasn't the MBW. What was it? What's the show called?
I did the Heart of England last year. That was the first one.
So when you won that overall, it must have felt pretty cool.
That's why I cried so much, man. Honestly, that's why I was like such an emotional little kid after it, because I had such a large amount of doubt that entire prep, because I was looking at shots and kind of all I could really see a lot of the time especially when I was flatter, was like the weak side hasn't come back up yet. You know what I mean? It was like again, that psychological battle. And Loz would always tell me, like, look, like, you got it back, like it's good, it's balanced. You can't see the difference. And then she would send me photos of comparisons and stuff, and I'd like settle down a bit. But yeah, until I saw the stage photos, I genuinely didn't have a lot of confidence, and I'm usually a relatively confident athlete myself. To be honest. Harley's getting inundated with sponsorship inquiries, I think.
Oh, I hope so, man.
But yeah, that was a good moment for sure. But the cool thing is that I still think, especially with how this like post-show phase has gone, and the condition I'm in at a good amount above stage weight, I know for a fact that I can be a good bit better.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of pounds up on last time. With review of that whole season as well, like the look that I really liked the most was definitely the first show look, just because it was a really nice combination of lean enough, but not to the point where I chased like more detail through my most stubborn body part, which is just glutes, like most people. But the problem for me is when I chase that little bit extra, it's like compromises so much else. The front double looks like an absolute pile of trash, and my arms and delts just disappear into thin air. And the problem is then it kind of ruins my shape as well, which is one of my strong suits. Mm-hmm. Shape in the front lat spread and the little bit in the front relax is kind of a stronger element of my physique. So when I lose that depth to all those front poses, I just become a shredded physique. But like that's not bodybuilding necessarily. Like just being shredded, it ain't bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is about the best balance of all of our attributes. And that's why I really feel like I do a good job with coaching, is that I bring physiques in looking different. So you'll see my clients, they'll have different level of conditioning. Some of them are absolutely peeled to the bone because we haven't compromised anything. They've got enough muscle to support it, or that's just their strong suit. Like they've got, let's say, for example, sorry to be really blunt, but let's say they've got complete shit structure anyway. Like if they've got completely rubbish structure anyway, they're not going to stand out for shape. So I may as well get them absolutely dug out so they have a shot at creeping into a top 5 or a top 3 or whatever. If they've got beautiful shape and they've got really stubborn glutes, I'm probably not going to chase them as far to get the glutes in, because it's going to start to make them a worse bodybuilder. That's the bottom line. It's like whatever we're doing, we're chasing the best bodybuilder on stage. So yeah, to kind of get back to what I was talking about there, is my physique is best around that sort of 72 kilo mark on stage. Like that's like a fasted upon weight weigh-in 72, 73 kilo. That's about right. When I've dipped down further in that, and for context, the lightest I got was sub 70 kilo at a 6 p.m. weigh-in for the two bro shows. That does not look good. It looks good in one photo, and that's the Ben Howard Corin Inman tuck glute thing, which is cool as hell, and it looks like I'm proud that I got to that level, because I definitely think it's the leanest I've ever gotten, but boy does it ruin the rest. And unfortunately when you've gone there, it's kind of so tough to get back, because you're already quite fatigued and watery and inflamed, that when you eat up, this is the thing, you eat up, but as much as insulin sensitivity is driven by body composition, it's also massively affected by fatigue. So when you're already that fatigued and that in that position of volatility with your physique, you don't load well. So all the loads that I did were so moderate, because I knew from previous loads that I became watery so fast because of how like savagely fragile my physique was. And the unfortunate thing is I knew all of these things. Like I know them like the back of my hand. It's why my clients don't do what I do. And it's why I need to 100% get someone to tell me what to do those next few times that I get into that position, that leanness. From 10 pounds out, I need to lean into, right, you tell me what the game plan is, me execute, job done. Because otherwise I just emaciate myself every time. I'll do it again. I'll definitely do it again. Even though I'm sitting here telling you that I won't do it again, I'd do it again. Because it's just the idiot that I am. And I'm more than happy to admit that. Because I just don't do it with my clients. So, that's it.
I think we're all like that though. Like any bodybuilder, it's like when you're training, yeah. Like there's been so many times where like my quads, like 2 weeks ago, my adductor was feeling like pretty wrecked, and I was like, well,
pretty
let's
injured.
just test it.
Right. You've had an injured adductor fucking since you started training.
And I thought, right, that's it. And I went and did a pendulum. Then after it was an amazing set. Came off and it was fine. But like when you're in the back end of a prep, like this is completely gone. You've got there's your brain is it's just empty. And obviously like Noah's self-coaching this year for his prep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very fun to watch.
Fasten the seatbelt.
That's it.
No, you'll be fine, mate. Like,
That'll be
just
sweet.
I think the best thing that you can do is just, for as long of the process as you can, treat yourself like a client. Treat yourself like how you coach anyone. Treat yourself how you'd view a process from the outside. Like, send yourself your own check-in. Do it as a check-in. Don't just like follow through the process and be like, oh, I'll do this week or whatever. Like, the more you can just keep it standardized, like you are just person X, you're not you.
Yeah.
You're just person X. You're another athlete. The better. But that's become the issue is for me is I do that for the whole prep, and then I get really close, and then I start doing like daily updates and stuff to like manage the look and all that stuff, and that's where my head goes.
Yeah.
Like I'd actually be better off, honestly, probably getting myself just about ready, and then eating maintenance calories and not taking any pictures. That's probably probably how I do it myself. If I'd probably land pretty well then. But the problem is when I look at pictures and I compare looks, and I'm quite. I think this is probably what makes me a good coach. I'm quite an analytical kind of guy. Like, I do like to really look at things and break things down, compare like back and forth. And that works so well with athletes because I catch physiques fading before they fade, catch body parts going before they go. But with myself, I'm not actually looking at those things. I'm looking at the body fat that remains, which is the problem. Because then if I see the body fat remains, I think immediately that the deficit is still the right answer, when in most cases it isn't. So yeah, I
think that's a really good point. And like I remember, because obviously like in 2020 when he was coaching, when Dante competed, obviously I was very, very close to him then, and obviously like you coached him, like you peaked him very different to how most people would peak a client. I remember seeing that firsthand. It was great because it taught me a lot as well, because it was totally different to like what you do for like a normal client, and that was very good to see as well, because you can just see how, just by looking at physique, how reactive you are.
Yeah, I think that's again where just my I think this is what is also making me probably a decent coach anyway, is that I do not care really what I have to do to win. If someone really wants to win, I don't care what the approach is. I don't care whether it's like looking right on paper or following what everyone else does, or right or wrong. There's no right or wrong, in my opinion. All there is getting on stage with results. So like the whole day at that Heart of England show, Dante was feeling like absolute death warmed up. Like, he felt awful the whole day. And most people would be like nowadays, oh, like, you're meant to feel good on your show day. Like, if you've had a good peak and you've dropped fatigue, you're meant to feel good. The boy felt like absolute death because of the protocols that had to be put in place, the very low food, the use of natural diuretics, all that kind of stuff. Like, he felt awful. But how did he look? Well, he looked like the overall winner of the show. And I said to him afterwards, I was like, was that worth it? He was like, fuck yeah, that was worth it. When do we do it again? You know? The problem is we couldn't do it again many more times because the aggressiveness of it just ended up not working as many times as we wanted to compete.
He did wipe him
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I think Dubai
Yeah, of
wiped.
course.
It was a travel in Dubai that wiped him out.
That's it. Yeah, and he came back looking... Tried to replicate some of those peaks, and they just never worked the same as the Heart of England. If he'd stayed on UK soil and then just done, like, the remainder of the UK season, I reckon the look would have been pretty steadfast. I reckon we could have kept it. But yeah, I agree. The Dubai trip and, like, 2 days of very limited sleep, travel, you know, when you've got, like, a 7-hour flight with coming off the back of a lot of fluid manipulation, it doesn't look good when you return home. And that, again, is similar in some ways to what I found with my physique at the end of my prep. It's like I'd done quite assertive things with peaking and trying to get down to weight classes and all that kind of malarkey, that the fluid, it was just awful. Like, and even like post-show, it took like a good while for me to get fluid balance in check, where I wasn't holding water in like really weird places. So, yep, the more aggressive you are in the prep, the more aggressive you are with your peaks, the more volatile your body will be afterwards. And that's why 99% of my athletes have just very simple peak weeks. Linear loads, drop fatigue, all that good stuff. Most of them respond super well to that, unless you're Dante, which hopefully we don't have to do again. I really hope that he doesn't have to peak like that again, but we'll see. We'll have to see next year.
A question I've got is actually from Dante.
Oh, God.
What's one thing you don't like about natural bodybuilding? Is there anything? Like, what annoys you with natural bodybuilding, if there is something?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say annoys me. One thing I don't like is the physiological cost that we have to pay. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that females, unless you've got an incredibly resilient physiological system, females have to give up their cycle pretty early, and it takes a fucking age to get it back. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we suppress thyroid function significantly. It takes a while for that to recover with a natural athlete, whereas you can keep it at physiological levels with an assisted athlete.
So would you say natural bodybuilding's healthier?
No.
Than
I think if you honestly,
I don't think in a prep it is healthier.
There you go. Then.
There we go. So here's the thing. I think the most healthy way to bodybuild is keeping yourself at a baseline physiological level with the use of performance enhancing drugs, be it testosterone, be it, thyroid medication, whatever, and not pushing anything to extremes. But then again, you won't win any show like that unless you've got like freaky genetics. But the reason why the top of the top are where they are, the Bumsteads and I don't know, maybe some others. Sean Clarida's probably a great example.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Right? How do they do this for as long as they do? They do it because they have the ability to tolerate a position of stress really well. Mm-hmm. And they have good androgenic responses. That's the bottom line. They probably don't have to take very much, and they can handle it really well. Yeah. That's it. So how does that relate to natural bodybuilding? If you have a female athlete that retains their cycle for the majority of the prep, gets it back really quickly, they have a resilient physiological system in some ways. Same with a male. If you get to the end of the prep and you take bloods 2 months after the show and they're really good, they have a pretty resilient system. A massively hidden genetic trait that makes someone good or not is the body's resilience. That's it. Because the price that some people have to pay is far higher than others. Far higher. Like Matt Egerton, for example.
It's funny, he asked the question about blood work.
dude was messed up beyond belief. Partially because the amount of weight that he'd also lost prior. He'd brought himself down from basically being significantly overweight to like in shape, done some muscle building, then done a prep. So he probably hadn't even recovered from the amount of time he spent in a deficit from pulling himself down from very overweight. And let's face it, when you're very overweight, your blood work's also going to be shit because you're very overweight. So, there were certain circumstances there that were not in his favour, but still, probably not a very resilient system. And would have taken him years probably to get back into a good spot. And, yeah, so blood work with naturals, I honestly think the best way that you can run it is run it 5 to 6 months post-show. Check that things comparatively to their off-season previous baseline have come back up to close to that baseline. Rinse and repeat. Symptomatic feedback is also really key. So leaning into asking your athletes, how's libido? How's energy? How's mood? A lot of symptoms will be produced within what you see in the data as well. So let's say, for example, you see in the data someone's gaining weight on really, really low food. Okay, we've probably got a metabolic or a thyroid issue. We probably need to investigate that. If someone's not gaining much weight on average food, they're feeling good, their libido's decent, their energy is decent, do you have to take bloods? Not necessarily, but it's always a good thing to do in that 5 to 6 month window post-prep, because a lot of people don't realize how you can adapt so much to what feels like normal, that normal isn't normal anymore, right? So you're low testosterone, but that's just your new normal. So you have constant brain fog and lack of creativity, lack of passion, lack of drive, lack of oomph. But that's just you. Yeah. And people can be like that for years, man. I've seen it with people that compete like every year, multiple times a year. And I'm like, you're not the same person anymore, but you've just become that person. You've just accepted that's what it is. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in the sport, is people accept that being physiologically compromised, not being in a good spot, is just natural bodybuilding. But it's not. We should always get to a point where we're recovered from the last prep, before we pull ourselves back down into a position where we're going to compromise it again. That's just kind of what you have to do.
100%. I learned that the hard way. Competed in May, then I competed again in August. So I think... No, sorry, I competed in June, and then they get 17, yeah. So it's like I was a kid, just finished puberty. I started to feel a little bit normal, boom, back in the prep, and then it was within like 4 months of that prep, and I was like, right, my head is like completely gone. Like, I only just started to get back, and then it was just gone. And it definitely took me a while to get back to like just being a normal, like the person I was before my first, like the person I was prior. That makes sense.
What were your main symptoms? What would you say were the main things that you noticed in that 4 months where you're not feeling normal?
Absolutely. There was zero sex drive. And I mean like zero. Like not like, like I'm not just talking about, like just, that side. I'm just, like, even just like physically, I wasn't affectionate at all. Yeah. And it caused massive issues. I was moody. Yeah, I didn't really care about anything. Like, all I cared about was just bodybuilding, and outside of that, I couldn't care. I could have got into a car crash, and I probably wouldn't have even cried. Yeah. I was just there was just no emotion. There was just nothing going on. Like, someone could tell me the fun. Like, I used to work with like a group of lads, and they were funny. They were so funny. They'd tell their jokes that 6 months ago I would have laughed my head off, and I was like, there was just nothing. I remember Karina once looked at me, and she just said, "You just look." I look at you, and I just look straight through you. There's there's nothing going on. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, this is just who I am. It took me a long time to realise that this is not right.
It sounds full,
man. Yeah. Young people have got to keep a watch out on that for sure, mate, because it can be a very attractive thing to compete. It can be very fun. People can also very much look up to assisted bodybuilders, so they look up to the guys that could compete multiple times in a year. Do the early shows, do the late shows, and they're like, I'm going to do that too. And I'm like, you ain't that person, I think competing once every couple of years as a natural, choosing one end of the season, it's the best way to play it. And if you're young, spend as much time as you can growing, building your foundations, selecting a season, and then take a couple of years out, come back again. I definitely think there's still, obviously I competed as a teen twice and as a junior once. I still think there's so much merit in competing when you're young. You just got to be careful with it. Also at the same time, don't push yourself to achieve something that's not necessarily yet achievable in terms of condition. You can get still really, really sharp, but maybe don't look up to the people that have got, 15 years, 20 years of training and try to emulate that, because you might not be there yet. Some teens are, most aren't. But
Yeah, that's it.
just gotta bide your time.
Some are, but most aren't.
Some
And
are, but
that's
most aren't. That's it.
some people are just, some people can like listen to things and they can just take it straight on board. But I'm like one of them people that just thinks, nah, I think I can do it, and then I realise I can't. So I realised that
Yeah.
we started pushing. Then my glutes finally came in, and then everything was just gone. Everything was just in a normal t-shirt. I looked like I was poorly.
Poorly, yeah.
But
Poorly mode.
it's fun. It was definitely a fun. As much as it was hard, it was fun. I think what I did in them 2 preps, I don't think I'll ever have to do that stuff again. Because I think now, I just lost 20 pounds. Yeah, I wasn't lean by any means, but I shaved off 20 pounds, and I was still eating a ridiculous amount of food. I did 20 minutes cardio, but it was like if I was natural back then, I probably would have had to do like double what I was doing. Last prep, I did so much, and I'm glad I did it, because it's taught me, I know I can do it. I know I've got the minerals to do it. I know I've got the resilience. But that eventually, I believe it definitely takes a toll on the physique. And I was doing 45 cardio in the morning, 45 cardio evening, 2 meals in the morning with pro fat. The only carbs I was having was like meal 3, pre-workout, post-workout, and then like some oats before bed. 16K steps. I was every single day, like when you're in the back end and you're just walking around and you feel like you just got chains on your feet. That's how I just felt, so rough. Even like walking to the shop, I just felt like, can I do this? Walking up the hill, there's like where I live, it's like up and down, and I walked up the hill. It was like just finishing my steps for the day, and it took me about 5 minutes to do like a 1 minute walk, because I kept stopping. It's crazy, but I'm glad I did it, because it taught me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't have to feel that way again, I don't think, mate. And nor should you, to be honest, because there's an element of that's not bodybuilding anymore. You're chasing something that's not there once your body just feels like numb inside. The best preps that I've coached have been ones where, yes, of course, they feel rough at the end, but most of the prep they're feeling decent. Because most of the prep you should feel decent. That final 5 to 6 pounds should feel like, yeah, I'm really fucking peeled now. That's just being peeled. But to get there, it should honestly be more of a sustainable process than people think.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's different, but most people should feel all right up until that point.
Yeah, it's all right now though, because me and Noah we're on gear, so we can just take it and just do nothing.
It's just easy.
Lovely, yeah. It's just straightforward.
We can eat pizza and get shredded. So
I don't even have to do anything. I just get in shape, but I just sit there doing nothing.
That's nice. That's nice.
A few of these questions, they're pretty obvious questions. Like the answer's quite obvious, but one is,
I don't want them.
how can you spot a bad coach? A lot of the questions are the questions that you've been asked on podcasts, and the general ones, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't want those.
So how can you spot a bad coach?
Yeah, bad coach. No results, like 0 results. Results speak volumes. I think you can speak all you want, but you have to definitely deliver some results. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. They could just be getting started, but they need to have some results. And I think the best way you can prove that is with yourself. If you've managed to lose weight or build muscle, you've got results already because you've done it yourself. So a lack of results, a bad coach will also potentially be someone that's so married to one singular approach. So if you come back at them with an idea or a difference in opinion, they'll say that it's their way or the highway kind of thing. That's a problem. That's a problem that a lot of coaches face, is that they are so married to one singular approach that they never fail. They never realize that there's many ways to skin the cat with different athletes. Another sign of bad coach is just very, very inconsistent with their deliverables. So you'll get your check-in within half an hour on one day, and then the next week you'll get it with the next day. And then the next week you'll get a text message, and 1 week you'll get a Loom video, and it's just all scatty and all over the place. That's when you know that they've not really got a routine for their job. Like I said it before on a podcast, but if I look at my check-ins, obviously there's different lengths of check-ins, different requirements of people's needs, but I respond in such a uniform way that often week to week there is, because my clients are so consistent as well, there's like a couple of minutes difference between when I fed them back to them last week to this week to the next week. So it'll be like, Florian will check in at 10, he'll get his feedback at 10:32 every single week. It's just like clockwork. And I think that's the best way you can coach, is be really clockwork, be really rigid with your routine, because your clients get what they deserve.
Yeah, 100%. Are you still working with like? Are you still working with like a lot of young guys?
Not as many, to be honest, because I think I've now kind of, without, I don't know, I don't want to sound the wrong way, but like I've maybe priced myself outside of some of the younger guys' price ranges now. I think a lot of the time they come back to me and say that they can't afford it at this time because they're either using their parents to fund it, or they've only got a job that pays them a small amount per month. So I have thought at times, like, do I create a rate that is like a teen rate and a junior rate, or like just a, like, let's say under 20 rate or something. I might do that at some point, because I really do like coaching teens and juniors, and I feel like I've kind of moved myself away from that. But at the same time, I feel like I do work with a few guys. Like, I've still got an 18-year-old on my roster, couple of 19-year-olds, and some of them are literally just putting every penny that they've got into coaching and bodybuilding. Yeah. And I respect that shit. When I sign them up, I'm like, dude, like, I really respect what you're doing here, because, like, if you were to take me back to when I was your age and invest in this amount in bodybuilding, I'd be like, fucking, that's impressive shit. So kudos to those people. But yeah, at the same time, I used to love the years where I had, like, there was one year where I had, I think, 4 of the top 5 of the juniors at the BNBF British finals or something. Like, I was coaching like all juniors, and that's what got me to the level where I've got now. And now I work with, I'd say probably 40%, 50% of my competitive roster are pro bodybuilders. Yeah. Which is super cool, because I remember, like, the first time I got a pro, I was like, oh my god, I'm working with a pro. Like, this is huge. Like, a pro inquired with me. And that doesn't seem like that long ago. I think first pro that I probably worked with was maybe 2019, 2020. So
that is 7.
Now, what's that mean?
So that is 7 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, quite a while ago. But yeah, it's now I'm blessed to be where I'm at. I've still got a lot of goals which I want to tick off with coaching. That WNBF Pro World title evades me as a coach. I've come close.
Is that
now.
still? Are you still wanting to take the WNBF Pro yourself?
No, myself, no, absolutely not. No, no, I have no interest. I've no interest because of what's happened over the last year, 2 years. No interest at all. I will not. I will not. I
didn't realize more has happened, but I remember I inquired of you when I was 17, and I was like, shit, I'm already putting so much money into bodybuilding. I was like, fuck. But it is cool, like, when you see teens working with, like, top level, another one. When you see teens working with top level coaches, it is always good, because it just means they're like, they're on it. Because when you're spending money on a coach, I know there's differences between level of money you're paying for coaches. Yeah, when you're paying for a proper good coach, you know that you're all in. Like, realistically, you probably never have a client now that joins, and you have to ask them to fucking do the basic stuff, because they're on it. That's the athlete you've attracted now, because you've spent so long in the game. Which is like, I struggle. Obviously, like, me and Noah, we're early coaches. Yeah, it's like, I'll onboard a client, and just from that, like, first week, I'll know this is going to be perfect, or it's going to be a ball ache. So it's like, I onboarded a client last weekend, no, two weekends ago. Just from the form alone, I was like, this guy's going to be amazing. He gave me everything. I didn't even need to ask him one question, because he filled out everything. And then the week after, I checked in, different client. I messaged him in the morning. Hey mate, you got your check-in? No reply. Then I messaged him later on the day. No reply. He messaged me the next day. Oh, sorry mate, I was being lazy. I forgot to take my check-in.
Yeah.
Annoys me so
Yeah.
much. Annoys me so much.
Unfortunately, these people exist, man, and like they still exist even at the level that I'm at. You know, I have people that pay me what I charge, and still don't. I still have to chase their check-ins now and again.
Yeah.
You know, which is crazy. But some people view the investment in coaching as enough, so they're like, "Oh, I've got a coach." Like, you actually use that coach, which is crazy. So yeah,
Like having a car with no petrol, mate.
yeah.
Well, we've kept
Right.
you for a while, mate.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been good to chat.
Yeah, it's been good, mate. You're not training today.
No, rest day today. And I've done my cardio this morning, so I've got that all boxed off. I've set up to do. And other than that, just staying on my phone because plenty of people are checking in a couple of times a day at the moment, leading into next show is next weekend, PCA Naturals 2. So I've got 3 in that.
Have you got many in there?
In the States. 3, yeah.
Actually, that was what I wanted. Have you got a busy year this year? Good year?
Yeah, a pretty decent year, especially with internationals. Not so many in the UK. I've not got many clients on stage in the UK this year because last year was such a huge year for the UK athletes, like massive. Like
Especially when you're in that
14,
natural
15
bodybuilder as well. Like you're gonna have a massive year. Then next year everyone's off.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So everyone that went last year is off season. And you know, my retention is really good going into the off season because a lot of the people I work with would just build really good relationships. So, you know, all of those people I worked with last year are pretty much still working with me now, but they're all in off season. So, 2027 will be big. I've got a lot of people going in 27, which I'm looking forward to. So this year, a bit of a quieter year, but still good. Still a lot of good guys and girls going out there.
Yeah, good. I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna come down to the MBW show this year, definitely.
Please do, mate. Yeah,
Look, mate,
you'll enjoy
it did look. You know, there's actually not any show in the UK has a live stream like that.
We tried our best. Try our best
Sure.
again. Try and make it a bit better. There's things we can improve, but yeah, it was a good first rendition, that's for sure.
For sure.
All
right, then.
right.
Have a good one. See you later.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, AJ.
Anyone that listens. And
thank you for coming on
catch up soon.
again. Obviously, I'm still new to the whole podcast stuff, right? AJ, where can we find you on Instagram?
So it's just Ajmorris _. It's my Instagram. Obviously, I've got YouTube as well, Ajmorris. And then, yeah, if anyone wants to check out the site, Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide. And then if you want to look at the show as well, the 16th, 18th of October this year, that's events at naturalbbworldwide.com. So if you're a natural athlete looking to compete this year, if you're from the UK, all you have to do is just do a UK FBA show, and then you're eligible to do the MBW. And I'd love to see anyone that wants to support come and compete there, or come and watch. Come and watch is also an option. More people in the audience, the better.
Perfect. Noah's in the hell phase now, so maybe he can jump in. Maybe.
You can indeed, yeah. It'll be clean. It'll be clean by the time he gets there.
All right, well, thank you, and have a good one.
All right. Catch you guys soon.
See
you
ya.
later.
See you later.